Why don't we just give up, partner?
The disguise kit is a very unique mechanic for a first-person shooter, allowing you to freely take on the appearance of another player, allowing you to blend in with the enemy. As a new player, it blows your mind. Such a creative mechanic. Now you can blend in with the enemy, only to betray them at the last second. Many people say that disguises don't work, that their only use is to destroy sentry nests. But those people usually use disguises like this.
Well, hello there, friendly.
A common mistake that a lot of new spies make is that they think that disguises are a tool for getting behind the enemy. They're not. That role goes to your cloak. The cloak is a tool for getting behind the enemy and escaping them, and the disguise kit is a tool for blending in and attacking sentry nests. You don't want to use your disguise to be within the enemy for a long time, you just want to blend in with them long enough so that you can make your move before they realize that you're a French assassin and turn you into a French fry. The hidden mechanics of disguises. If you change your disguise while already disguised, it will complete much faster. Pressing B while undisguised will disguise you as whoever you last disguised as. Don't disguise right before cloaking. The disguise smoke will follow you as the disguise completes, giving away to the enemy where you went. The disguise smoke will only show up if you are not cloaked at all when disguising, so it is safe to disguise even if your cloak is incomplete. You can also sometimes use this to throw people off when chasing you. Let's play Spot the Spy. Which one is the spy? A, B, or C? Or what about here? A, B, or C? And here? A, B, or C? For the first one, if you guessed C, you are correct! Look at him thinking about shanking that soldier. For the second one, if you guessed C, you are correct! Look at his spy instincts dragging him towards the easy prey of the sniper. And for the last one, if you guessed C, you are correct! Acting is a very underestimated part of disguise use. Many players just expect disguises to work upon using them, but you actually have to make yourself look natural so you don't stick out like an unfunny normie meme that you stole from Facebook. Acting is a unique skill in TF2. It isn't something like rocket jumping, aiming, or strafing. It isn't a skill that you practice for hours on end so you can pull it off flawlessly. It's a skill in the mind. Getting into the head of the enemy, deceiving them into thinking that you're a teammate. It's a psychological skill. It is spy psychology. Now before you do anything, turn on player models in the HUD. This will show you exactly what the class you are disguised as looks like, including their loadouts and cosmetics, so you can tell if you need to change your acting behaviour depending on this. Oh no. One thing you need to remember is that you can see things on your screen that aren't actually in the center. Often when you act, you need to look for your next target out of the corner of your screen, so that it isn't obvious that you're a spy going for a backstab. Imagine that you are actually playing as the class you are disguised as. For example, if you are walking away from the enemy spawn to the front line, you would be looking at the objective, and maybe checking your own back for spies such as yourself. If you see a target at this point, avoid looking and walking straight towards them. Act as if you are planning to walk past them. Wait for the opportunity, then flick over to your target at the last second and stab them once you get close. When a player spawns, they can see an outline of all players on their team through walls for a short time. However, this will also show disguised spies who aren't cloaked, so just be careful not to have something like this happen. A recommendation when near the enemy spawn is to switch your disguise to a friendly medic, so that you can quickly switch back when need be, and the enemy doesn't see you with post-spawn wall hacks when they spawn. Pressing B while disguised will switch your weapon that your disguise is holding to whatever weapon slot you are currently holding. If you hold your revolver and press B, your disguise will now be holding their primary. If you hold your sapper and press B, your disguise will now be holding their secondary. And if you hold your knife and press B, your disguise will now be holding their melee. This is a key part of acting. You should switch your weapon based on the situation in order to make the situation you're in seem realistic. A medic would usually run around with his midi gun out, looking for people to heal, not with his syringe gun. Pyros with their power jack equipped tend to pull it out while heading towards the front line. They sometimes tend to jump repeatedly to amuse themselves and do some mid-air strafing. Already, you now look very convincing. Often it is a good idea to switch your weapons based on where you go. A pyro with his flamethrower out ready to defend the payload turns a corner and sees the enemy is clearly out of range, so he pulls out his shotgun. Switching disguise weapons and keeping track of which weapon your disguise is holding is something you want to make a habit, especially in the case of the glitch occurring where your disguise holds the wrong weapon for the class, which makes it obvious that you're a spy. Good job. The big obvious downside to the scout disguise is that the scout is the only class faster than the spy, and it sticks out very badly when you see a slow scout. However, there is a very interesting upside to the scout disguise that a lot of new players don't notice. When you disguise, your hitbox stays the same. The scout is much shorter than the spy, and if a sniper were to try and headshot you while you were disguised as a scout, it becomes harder since they can't actually see your head. Another very specific advantage of the scout disguise is you can have your head peeking over a short ledge or wall. Walls like this here on Thunder Mountain are just high enough for a spy to be able to see over with his head poking out, but if you disguise as scout, you will still be able to see over, but the enemy will be unable to see you. Not often used, and he is slow. If you aren't disguised as someone with a free-to-play loadout, people will quickly pick up on the fact that you aren't rocket jumping, though you may end up getting quick buffs from medics when they see you. Pyro can be pretty good. He usually moves with his team and gets in close for combat. The big problem is that spy is countered by pyro, and if the pyro you're disguised as sees you, you better be ready to bail. Pretty similar to soldier except slightly faster. Quite similar to pyro, however, you do need to make it look as if you haven't built a nest yet and are looking for somewhere to build it, or make it look as if you are straying away from the nest. The Heavy is as slow as his upcoming update, and his disguise is very rarely used. However, this gives it a unique upside. Since the disguise is so rare, people fall for it much more often because they do not expect for someone to use such an unconventional strategy. Heavy has no movement tricks to get him to the front line quicker, so just walking to the front line is already very realistic. I even managed to trick a medic into Ubering me using a Heavy disguise during an organised Highlander match. When using a medic disguise, you need to make your move quicker than ever, because people will very quickly notice when you don't heal them. And also make sure you have your medigun pulled out, not the syringe gun. People do tend to turn their backs to a medic to let them heal while they shoot, which obviously can work to your advantage. And if a low health player comes to you wanting heals, quickly finish them off before they have a chance to kill you. Usually works when walking towards the front line, but is mainly useful when up on a sniper perch observing the enemy. You can watch from up there and look normal, especially if your loadout is free to play, making sense as to why you aren't scoped in. Just be careful in case you are spotted by the sniper you're disguised as, because the head hitbox is basically the same with sniper and spy. If the sniper spots you, bail before he headshots you. The spy disguise is very commonly used by newer players and is really bad. Enemy players will see you as a disguised spy on their team always, and spies usually aren't disguised while within their own team and not cloaked, which sticks out a lot. Also, spies usually aren't seen within their own team. Their disguise is really bad and hardly works.
But Janto, I look like a spy when I'm in my team.
There is absolutely no point to that, because you need to be near the enemy, not your own team. And as I said before, you need to use your cloak to get behind them, not your disguise. You also want to pay attention to who you are going to try and fool with your disguises. Disguise as somebody who isn't already there, or check the scoreboard and disguise as someone who is dead. And if you end up getting spotted by the person you're disguised as, you can even use it as bait. Keep in mind that switching up your choice of disguise will keep your enemies guessing, making you unpredictable. Like I said before, acting is a skill of the mind. You need to outthink your opponent, and do what they don't expect. If they notice that you are disguising as the same class a lot, switch it up suddenly, and you have an increased chance of actually fooling them. Thanks guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Consider checking me out on other sites such as my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. See you in the next video. Thanks guys, and bye.